Intent. Everything starts with, I have always been a believer of genuine good intentions. If that is not there, then there is no long term. See, a country becomes great when the people work together to make it, right? User feedback with continuous improvement. We actually, I remember we actually removed 80% of everything that, we were actually putting on the product. And when we relaunched the entire brand of Tummoc, the logo and everything, we changed. We reduced the features to the most basic ones, which is something that people need. And we also put another aspect of regional languages, because if you are, catering to the commoners of the country, the people who are who are the real public transport users, how many of them actually know English? How many of them are actually comfortable with that language?
Welcome to Bite Size, a series where we highlight innovation across transport, mobility, and smart cities, and meet the people that are making it happen. My name is Emily Bobbis. I'm a road intelligence startup founder, and my goal is to combat the stigma that transport is uncool, uninteresting, and uninspired.
Well, Monalisha, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast to chat with me today.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for having me.
I wanted to start off by getting you to tell us a little bit about your background, so who you are and what you're about, and then also what you're passionate about as well.
So, Emily, first of all, thank you so much, as I said earlier, also for having me here. I am Monalisha Thakur. I am one of the co-founders of India's first transit platform called Tummoc. We started around 6.5 years back, only with an intent of a problem, and which was about digitization of the public transport in India. As we are talking, even today, we have 75 to 80 million users who take public transport daily in India. Me, I have been an avid public transport user myself. Before we started this journey, I went into sales and I used to do a lot of traveling. Public transport was always a very important part of my job because I used to travel a lot in the city, outside the city as well, right? If you fly down as well, there again you have to take some sort of transport. And yes, but then what I realized is the problems of a public transport when I was a kid, when I was going through my schooling, to the time when I was working, nothing much changed actually. So that was definitely a trigger. A couple of incidents happened. One of them was, that I was expecting at that time. And we are three co-founders, and the other co-founder, the second one who's the CEO as well, Harman, he's my husband as well. Now he was traveling, and I was around 8 months pregnant, and he was just trying to finish the travel before the baby comes, and I was here, and then I was obviously going to office, coming back, and metro was comfortable commute. But then the challenge was from the station to my home. It was around 2.5 kilometers, so I would say 1.5 miles to my home, and every day it was a hassle, right? Again, Olas and Ubers, everything, they were canceling because it was a short distance. So every day I had to go through that whole thing. And one day it happened so that I just could not take it anymore. I just said, why you guys do this with me every day? Because that you can see that I need it, right? And it's not very far. So why do you guys do it? So one of the guys said, if it's that near, why don't you walk? It's like that. That's when that guy triggered that. And we were like, okay, I'll walk today. Obviously, I walked and my back was gone. But along the way, I realized that this is a problem, and I'm just not the one person who's facing it. Maybe it happened with me today. I'm sure they must be happening with a lot of other people. The first product was Biker. We did that. So the Biker exactly did what these guys were not doing. We started with the first and last mile availability. We started pick and drop from metro station to home, office to home. So that is something that we did for the first 2.5 years. And it was like, okay, this is just It's just getting too crowded, and let's upscale ourselves and become from a first and last mile provider. Let's become an ecosystem enabler, a transit platform. We can actually put everybody into one place, something which was never in India. Like, even though there are players outside India, but nobody has actually done it in India. And this is how Tummoc came into picture. What we did.
And it sounds like it's a very personal story as well behind Tummoc.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you were pregnant, then your co-founder, who's also your husband, got sick, and then you're just kind of like, stuff this. There's got to be a better way of
yes.
dealing with this problem. And I think it's very it's great that you started with a problem, because I think a lot of startups or companies in general try and find a solution and then look for a problem later. But you kind of were really suffering firsthand.
Absolutely. Because you know what I have realized, there's another thing that I would want to share here is, most of the people that I've seen, there's a trend, like, right? So there's one person who actually is there, out of, let's say there are 10 players, right? With the genuinity to solve a problem, maybe you will find out of 10, 2 people. The rest 8 joined because the first 2 started it. When it comes to the space where we have been into, right, which is the transit space, and to become the transit, it is not a space which is very, fancy or exciting. You question why.
Yeah. I think you're right that some of the biggest problems worth solving are not the sexiest problems worth solving.
Yeah, that's
so
the
they get pushed to the side. They're like, that's not sexy enough. But
yeah.
You've kind of hinted at you were talking about grants and then the idea of op versus product-based companies. What are some of the other challenges that you faced on this journey, aside from having to cart around sick co-founders?
So I think, as I said, like, this is the second problem that I mentioned to you, right? That it's not that exciting. It's sometimes definitely, you as a founder who struggled for 7 years, you feel that, we should get that respect, and, which we deserve, right? Because that is second challenge that I mentioned earlier as well. And the third thing is to basically bring everything together. Now, what happens in countries outside India, you have open data policy. So transit creation is easy because the data is available. It is not fragmented. Here, the data itself was not there. It is not. So you just don't talk about being fragmented, because, and if it is there, it was just all over the place. So first step is, that's where I said, right, that you just by creating an app will not help here. I'll give you an example. So we work with BMTC, we are their knowledge partners as well. BMTC is the biggest bus conglomerate in India, and it is based out of Bangalore. They have around 8,000 plus buses. And we also manage their ITMS, the complete IT. 2 years down the line, the buses that used to come, they used to write in a piece of paper, right? Now the entire digitization on the dashboard. So now on a dashboard, they can access and see that, okay, this bus is coming at this time, this bus is coming at that time. The machines, the POS machines which are there, right, which is basically used for ticketing. So if in the middle there is a depot where you can have a charger or something like that, that could be like, there's already a way or a method to basically get them access. Something which is as basic as that. A country becomes great when the people work together to make it, right? Something that I always believe in, the brand and the product and anything that we make, it is the user who actually makes the product great, because they use it, they give you feedback, good, bad, ugly, you go back, you do your homework, right? So yeah, this has been a journey. In fact, one very interesting use case I'll tell you, when we pivoted from Biker to Tummoc, the first use case we took as a reference was Move and City Mappers. And the product that we created that time as Tummoc was absolutely, what we realized is, for them, the app was very much bloated. It was too much information for them. User feedback with continuous improvement. We actually, I remember, we actually removed 80% of everything that, we were actually putting on the product. And when we relaunched the entire brand of Tummoc, the logo and everything we changed, there was a sudden increase in the downloads, in the user acceptance, in the retention that we could see. We reduce the features to the most basic ones, which is something that people need. And we also put another aspect of regional languages, because if you are, catering to the commoners of the country, the people who are who are the real public transport users, how many of them actually know English? How many of them are actually comfortable with that language? What if you give them another language which they're comfortable with, which is their regional languages? Wouldn't their life will become easy? And India being India, we have hundreds of languages, but yes, I mean, zeroing down to the cities, you just keep adding. So yeah, I mean, these are the things that we have learned along the way. We're still learning. I mean, it's always a work in progress. But yeah, I mean, it always amazes me, and really grateful actually for the response of the users which come along the way. Because every time there is a feedback that comes from the user, it gets added to it. And it is because of that, the retention right now, something that we are personally very proud of. The CAC is actually next to zero. Around 75% of users which use an app, app is organic. And the retention for the first time user to come back is more than 94%. And the average time that any user is actually spending on an app is 25 minutes.
So you were also part of a program called EmpowerWISM. So for those of people who are listening who are not familiar, EmpowerWISM stands for Empower Women in Shared Mobility. It's a program run every year by a Vancouver-based mobility agency called Movmi. Basically, as the name suggests, all about getting women and mobility, women who own mobility businesses kind of involved, and a little bit of like a push off the ground, if you can use that term. For you, why was the program valuable, and what was the experience like?
Application came, and actually it was Venkatesh,
Yeah.
He reached out to the team, he reached out to me, and he said that, hey guys, there's an opportunity, why don't you guys get into it? And we were already late, but then he said that, okay, I think that they are basically rescheduling, so you will have time, why don't you fill the forms? I must give him the credit that, he was absolutely following up with me and the team to making sure that, we fill the forms and, we are there. Because he said, there's so much that you guys are doing and you guys should be heard. And I was like, yeah, I know, but okay, fine. Let's at least let us try. So then he said that, but then because of the work that Tummoc is doing in India, which is, we would want Tummoc to be highlighted as a star product. And I remember Sandra telling me that I was, because any competition, right? You're so excited that okay, you're gonna win. I was like, Sandra, I'm gonna cry now. You're telling me that I just cannot win just because I'm too big.
You did too good of a job.
But Sandra said, yeah, I remember, she was so kind, and she said, having at my place, you being at my place, what you would have done. I said, yes, I know. I'm just, obviously, at the end of the day, we are all kids, right? I'm like, anything which you lose, you feel sad, you feel bad. But understanding the intent, I was like, yes, I absolutely get it. And then she said that, but having said that, I would really want you to go and shout at the top of your lungs of the great work that Tummoc is doing, because everyone should do it. And she was like, she's someone whom I really admire, of having that fire in her belly that you have to go and talk. So actually, it's not me. It's Venkat and Sandra.
Yeah. It's there's a quote I like to use actually from another guest called Jeff Sharp, who sometimes listens to this podcast. So if you're listening, hi Jeff. The quote is that innovation doesn't happen in a bubble, and I think that that's what you've kind of described is these network effects of like learning from each other, and not just Sandra and Venkatesh who are part of the Movmi team, but also all the other participants who were involved in that.
Because you never know. You never know. I always believe in that. Yeah.
So You're obviously very, very knowledgeable about this, and you've had heaps of experience in this industry. What's one question that you wish people would ask you more often? Like a question that you're like really passionate about. You kind of just like, oh, I wish people would talk to me about this because I can talk all day about it.
I mean, so if you really ask me, frankly, it's about Tummoc. I mean, it's like
Good answer, yeah.
I mean, so we have, so because I mean, first thing is the three co-founders. I mean, me and Hiranmaya, we are husband and wife, and the other person, he's also very close. So when we go out somewhere, right, it's just 95% of the conversation is about Tummoc. It's like something that subconsciously happens. Like I cannot help it. We will be talking about Tummoc all the time. But if someone asks me, that's it. I mean, doing something for the first time, right? And solving a genuine problem, which is not very exciting, by the big major group of people. It is a long journey, like 6.5, 7 years, right? You get up, you fall, you get up, you fall. So, at those moments of time, a basic words of appreciation, or, someone just coming and asking, hey, how you guys doing? What's up? You guys are doing great work, right? These are the things that really motivate you, right? Like, just feel like, yeah, we're doing something for the people. I mean, you just feel that, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to hear.
We've talked about a whole bunch of things. Out of everything today, if you wanted listeners to have one takeaway from the episode, like one thing that you think is a key lesson, what do you think that would be?
Intent. Everything starts with, I mean, I have always been a believer of genuine good intentions. If that is not there, then there is no long term, right? So when we thought of solving this problem, no matter how unattractive it was, no matter how dirty the laundry was, we still decided to take the plunge because we knew that this is a genuine problem. I could have easily, there's so many, like there's so much happening around. I mean, there are many ways to, get into things which are easier to be done, easier to be, funded and everything else. But the intent was something that basically holded us back for till the last 6.5, 7 years to struggle through, to come this far. So absolutely, it is intention. Like whenever you're trying to do something in life, and your intentions play a very important role. And the second thing is when you know that your intentions are genuine, just give it your all. Like then just don't hold back. And yes, to sum it all together, just be humble and be open, right? That you can learn things from anywhere. So just because I'm doing it for the last 6.5, 7 years, it does not mean that I'm an expert for it.
So if people wanted to know more than these 4 things, how can they connect with you or get in touch and learn more maybe about Tummoc?
Tummoc, so yeah, I mean, we are, so I'm there on LinkedIn by the name Monalisha Thakur. I'm there on Instagram as well. You guys can, I mean, we have our website, the app is there, we always have every month these user feedback sessions where, we call people, we ask for honest feedbacks and we work on the product. So there are many ways. I mean, today we are, one of the benefits of staying in a digital age is that there's so many ways that people can reach out to us. So more than happy to learn, understand, and basically solve the problem, which is like genuine one, as I said, the intentions, right? So yeah, I mean, just Google Tummoc and yeah, you will find me there.
Perfect. And I'll put links in the show notes as well that are hosted on Substack with all the other links inside and how people can get in touch with you in case they've missed it and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to that actually. Yeah.
But thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. I mean, as you said, you wished more people would ask you about Tummoc, and I have definitely done that. So, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Really appreciate your time and chatting with me today.
If you'd like to learn more about any of the guests that we have on the podcast, more about Bite Size, or more about Compass IoT, the company that produces this podcast, you can visit our website, which is www.compassiot.com.au. Until next time.